You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
Is on summer break. And David Heurtel will be sitting in for him today. He'll be joining us from time to time. David, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Aaron?
I'm pretty good. David, I'm confused because I see one of the topics we want to talk about today is urban planning, but I don't have any details on where we're going with this. So what is it today that leads you to put this down as something to discuss?
Well, it's very interesting that you start off with this, Aaron, and I'm not surprised you don't know much about this because today, in a very hush-hush way, the Quebec government, after literally years of planning this, public consultations, working supposedly with municipalities, indigenous nations, individual people, groups, community groups, environmental groups that come out today of all days, on a day that's a day off for a lot of people, with their big 2023-2027 land use and architecture policy.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't see it yet. That's odd. Usually I get that right as soon as they issue it. Okay.
No, but it's to me, and this was announced by the Municipal Affairs Minister, André Laforêt, and the Culture Minister, Mathieu Lacombe. And the reason why I'm pointing this out on this day of all days where we are still struggling with the quality of air, even though we're not the worst in the world as we were yesterday, we're still struggling with it. And I know you've heard this time and time again with the fires and the flooding and everything that's been going on over the past few years about adaptation. In a 44-page document, do you know how much is dedicated to climate and adaptation in this whole 4-year strategy?
Why do I feel?
How much?
2 pages.
2 pages.
2 pages. And $239.4 million, which was in the last budget. Now, over the last few years, we have been talking, of course, about adaptation. We have people like Jim Bates, the Pierrefonds Roxborough Borough Mayor, who every spring comes on CJAD 800 and says, look, I need help here. I need real resources to find permanent solutions instead of always struggling with these, very temporary makeshift adaptations every year. And we have a ton of other problems coming down the road here. And the fact is that while this government has cut taxes, sent $500 checks, it has ignored and is continuing to ignore fundamental problems because these forest fires, just like the flooding, just like the coastal erosion, just like all the other issues having to do with climate change, are not going away. They're going to get worse. And even the municipalities, the Municipalités du Québec, the biggest association of major cities in Quebec, has said, we need literally billions of dollars to deal with this. And the fact that the government has waited for the parliamentary session to end, has waited after, basically, politically speaking, summer begins after the Saint-Jean, after Fête Nationale. And to announce this, to make this announcement on a Monday that for a lot of people is still, some people took the holiday on Friday, but a lot of people are doing it today. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that the environment minister isn't there. The housing minister is still in hiding because of her Marie-Antoinette stunt a few weeks ago. And the fact is that this is really not only cynical, but this is bordering on negligence because when we're talking about adaptation, it's about we're going to have to really start doing actions now, not wait till 2027, because this $239 million, Aaron and Natasha, it's for plans. It's not even for action. And so the fact is right now we are sleeping at one of the most important crises of our time. And I know we're all tired since the pandemic, but the fact is, one of the things we're going to need to adapt to is healthcare. Because right now, a lot of people, because of the quality of this air, are not only having problems now, but we're going to have problems for months and years to come because of this.
So I would ask you this. Now, first of all, it's shocking to hear that, as you just said, only 2 pages in here were dedicated to dealing with this. The money seems, when you talk about billions, a couple of $100 million being thrown at this, and as you said, for plans, not even for action. My question is, if you're the government, I have a feeling you come back and say, wait a sec, yes, it's a terrible wildfire season, and yes, it's probably not over yet, but if you look back historically, we have had bad wildfire seasons before. We're going to get them again, and therefore this seems like a reasonable amount of money for a one-time event, or at least an event that's not going to necessarily recur every year.
I get the argument, and I get why it's being said, but we said the same thing about flooding. And when I was environment minister in 2017, we even tried that argument because we knew it was going to happen again. And guess what? It happened again in 2019. We've always had flooding in the spring. But the fact is that our models had the type of flooding we had in 2017 on a 100-year basis, once every 100 years. We had it twice in 3 years. And the fact is that with also the coastal erosion, I mean, we have a lot of cities and towns and infrastructure right on the St. Lawrence, right on a lot of rivers and streams. And the fact is that that's going to have to be rethought. And the idea here, and this is not just for Quebec, it's for Canada. It's also on the federal government's shoulders as well, but it's happening in the U.S., in Europe. The fact is that we're always in this endless cycle of reacting to the crisis in front of us, and we're not realizing that we're spending so much money just to get over the hump of said crisis, like what we're doing right now with the forest fires. But imagine if all this money that we're going to continue spending more and more is going to have ultimately be spent on changing where a lot of us live and work and how we live. This is the real deal here, Aaron and Natasha. And it's not about being alarmist. This is not about mitigation and reducing greenhouse gas emissions in 2050. This is about stuff that's happening right now.
Yeah, and is going to continue to happen, like you said.
And even worse. Even worse.
I was thinking about how the fact that the air quality has gotten better in the last few hours, obviously that's a wonderful thing. We need that. But in a way, it's kind of bad in so much that when it was as bad as it was in New York City, and we were making the cover of all the newspapers, and then as bad as it is in Montreal during the height of tourist season, I feel like that adds pressure to the government to be more in active mode. When the air gets better, suddenly it's like, oh, okay, good. Maybe we'll talk about that again.
That's it. And we only act when we have these constant crises. Look, we did it for the pandemic. We developed, the planet developed a vaccine that usually takes 15 years to develop. They developed it in a year. And so the fact is that we can do this. But like you said, I mean, it goes away. We get through, hurricanes in the U.S., in the southern part of the U.S. We see that they happen all the time. But the fact is that even with our floods, we're letting people go back to the flood zones to live and rebuild every 2 years. It's ridiculous.
So I want to ask you a question, though, David. Is it, before we run out of time, because this is fascinating, is it a matter of a government, let's say this particular government, because you said, look, it's happened in the past when the Liberals were in power, you were environment minister.
Yeah.
Is this about not wanting to take billions of dollars to have to deal with this because it's simply a problem that will cost too much money to fix, or what?
It's political, and the short answer to this, you have to take these very hard, difficult decisions out of the hands of the politicians, regardless of the party. And I'm putting myself and the government I was part of above. We made the same stupid decisions at the time. But the fact is that, remember, in the last century, after financial crises like the Great Depression and other crises before financially, the world created central banks to take away from the politicians the tough decisions having to do with monetary policy. And that's why today, fighting inflation and raising interest rates, imagine no politician would raise interest rates. And so the fact is that we have to do the same thing with climate and fighting climate change. You have to take it out of the hands of the politicians and make sure that these tough decisions are made by people who are basing their decisions on science and the greater good, not just political payback.
Wow.
Yeah, that's... Look, I wonder, though, David, if that's the case, if you take it out of politicians' hands, who are we assigning to deal with this?
We're going to have to do it. Look, we did it also with public health during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It wasn't the politicians, ultimately. It was science. It was public health that was making the decisions, ultimately. Yes, politicians were close, but it was out of the hands of the politicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll see where this goes. And again, fascinating, as you said, that this is released on a day when, a lot of people are not paying attention to it. But thank you for picking it up.
All right.
All right.